the Rotunda Hospital releasing that statement last night, outlining some of the problems that they face when it comes to lifting restrictions and allowing access to the hospital. They talk about infrastructural issues, that parts of the hospital are over 250 years old. And they also talk in that statement about vaccination take-up. And two figures they quote. And I think it's important to talk about these figures. They say that only 39% of expectant mothers in the hospitals are vaccinated. And that's understandably low. Pregnant women are an unusual subset in society, and Kieran Cuddihy, I think, spoke about this well this morning on News Talk Breakfast about how they would be uniquely nervous about taking a vaccine given the situation they find themselves in. The figure that stands out for me is that they say, the Rotunda, according to their survey of inpatients, that 41% of partners are fully vaccinated. Now, that figure does not tally with what the HSE are telling us about vaccination rates in different age groups whatsoever. The average age of an Irish dad when his partner gives birth is 35. About 60% of 35-year-olds are fully vaccinated. Most people in the hospital, most partners, are in the 25 to 49 age bracket. 70% of them are vaccinated. Even if you go down to the lower end, the late teens, I mean, there's not that many dads in their late teens knocking on the door of the Rotunda, but even in that age bracket, from 18 to 24, 42% of them are fully vaccinated. So how they have compiled this survey that says only 41% are fully vaccinated, I do not know. We don't have the data from that survey. We just have to take the Rotunda's word for it. But I'll be honest with you, I just don't believe those figures. Because you can't believe those figures and believe the HSE figures. They can contradict each other completely. And I think the HSE ones are accurate. So that's the first thing I would say about the Rotunda's position. I think it's based on false evidence. And I think it has to be said, and it has to be said loud and clear, that the Rotunda and all our other maternity hospitals and our maternity units have, at every step of the way on this journey, had to be dragged kicking and screaming into compliance with guidelines. And these are not guidelines dreamt up by the Hard Shoulder or News Talk. These are guidelines dreamt up by NPHET and the HSE and the Department of Health. They are informed by public health experts, and our maternity hospitals have been criminally slow to listen to those experts, if you ask me. And I think that has to be acknowledged when they come on and they make all these reasonable points. They have been, like I said, dragged kicking and streaming into compliance every step of the way. The third thing to say, and I think this is the most important thing to say because it gets lost a little bit, it suits people who are defending the maternity hospitals to suggest that everybody who's critical wants all restrictions lifted and immediately go back to pre-COVID times overnight. And that is not the case. Certainly the women who've been brave enough to speak to us here on the Hard Shoulder, very few of them have been looking for a lifting of all restrictions. They are not looking for the sun, moon and stars. They're looking for two things. They're looking for a bit of compassion and a bit of common sense. And when I talk about common sense, I'm talking about something like antigen testing. And I know antigen tests have their shortcomings, but their accuracy is much better while somebody's infectious. So if somebody has two vaccines, they are double vaccinated, they pass an antigen test, they've got no symptoms, their temperature is checked at the door, and they wear PPE in the form of a mask, the risk of them having COVID and infecting any pregnant mother on the wards is absolutely minuscule. But the maternity hospitals have shown no interest in even entertaining the possibility of antigen tests. So when a master of a maternity hospital says they're doing their best, you can see why people are still infuriated by it. You can see why expectant mothers are still infuriated by it. And the problem here is that hospitals and hospital managements don't actually have to explore any of these possibilities because they're not actually answerable to anybody. All that happens is that the Minister for Health asks them to comply and asks them to do things, but they don't have to do any of it. They are utterly unaccountable, which does not fill me with a huge amount of hope that things are going to change anytime soon for expectant mothers or their partners.